Several are the YouTube videos which are trying to inform potential students to Germany about how to secure a blocked account, which is part of the requirements needed for a visa application to Germany. But is that the reality? Hello and welcome again to the Edupolitics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on how potential students to Germany are being misinformed about blocked accounts for their visa applications. So what is this blocked account at all? As part of the visa application requirements, applicants are requested to prove that they can financially support themselves when in Germany. A blocked account is therefore one of the ways of doing so for certain visa categories. This blocked account, which is also referred to as the Sparkonto in Germany, is a special bank account which should enable applicants to deposit an amount of 11,904 starting from 2025. This amount is supposed to be the equivalent of 12 times the current monthly standard rate of 992 euros a month. But how can this account be opened? A blocked account can be opened at a bank or similar providers anywhere, in any country to be precise. Since applicants are not yet resident in Germany, it is of course in the applicant's home country where such accounts should be opened. Any reputable financial institute in applicant's home country is eligible for this account. Applicants are free to choose where they would want to open their accounts, be it online or in their home countries. The choice is theirs, and the German embassies advises so too. There is no law from any German authorities compelling anyone to open a blocked account at any of those online service providers in Germany before the embassy can accept it as a blocked account. And here is the technical common sense that has to be applied to this issue. Firstly, you, as the applicant, you are not even resident in Germany. You are not yet in Germany. So why on earth will you be opening a blocked account in Germany to deposit money there? Secondly, bilateral laws dictate that the embassy accept services of reputable banks in your home country. Furthermore, if your visa application will be rejected, that is at the discretion of the German embassy in whichever country that you find yourself in. You could be the child of the only millionaire or billionaire in your country, and the German embassy can decide to reject your visa application if they deem it so. As such, a blocked account by any of these online service providers in Germany has no impact. And I repeat, they have no practical impact for the success of any visa application. on the contrary, you, the applicant, is the one only enriching some private businesses in Germany. These online service providers charges from about 70 to 100 euros to open an account for applicants, which is already a rip-off. In Germany, nobody pays for anything. No amount of money is paid to open a bank account in Germany. All that is needed are your personal details. Secondly, these online providers keeps your money in their accounts to boost their business, whilst they, with impudence, charge you between 5 to 10 euros a month as charges. Hello? Are they not the ones supposed to be paying such amounts as interest to you, the applicants, because you have been so dumb to deposit your money with them? And the insult of it all, these providers decide to permit applicants to withdraw 992 euros every month as pocket money, because that is what the law says. Why are they keeping your money? It is your money. So with what right are these service providers keeping your money and giving you 992 euros a month? Because that is what the law says. Who gives them that right? Here is the thing. Any student who needs proof of funds for his or her existence in Germany should open a blocked account in a reputable bank in his or her country. If the visa is approved and the trip to Germany is successful, it is even obligatory in Germany that all students open an account at the Deutsche Bank or the Commerzbank. Again, opening accounts at any of these banks cost nothing, as in 0 euros. All that is needed are applicants' personal details and registration documents from the said university. The money supposed to be in the applicant's blocked account at the time of the visa application process can then be transferred to the Deutsche Bank or Commerzbank. And this account is what will be needed as the proof of funds for future visa extension applications. So there you have it, folks. Don't let anyone stress you with this bullshit that you necessarily have to open a blocked account with any online service provider in Germany. No foreign office recommends that. It is clearly stipulated on the website of the Foreign Office of Germany, Auswärtiges Amt. You can read for yourself. If these private online service providers are accepted by the embassy, then in the same vein, any reputable bank in your home country can also be accepted. I will be placing the link of the Foreign Office below in this video, and you can check out the website yourselves. You are, of course, welcome to ask any further questions if in doubt. And thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next podcast. Good day.
Nuclear bombers. It seems that the mood has shifted a bit in Moscow. To what extent do you think this will change Russian tactics on the battlefield, or it does seem that restraint is now difficult, not just because of pressure from other politicians and the public that they have to act more forcefully, but also the sense of, I guess, the need to restore their deterrent. That is, well, if something like this happened in the United States, someone attacked their nuclear forces, one would think there's a need to, yeah, revive this deterrent, send a signal that this will never happen again. But we have seen some changes. That is, Russia's hitting Ukrainian cities pretty hard now with drones and missiles. Is this a new tactic, you think, or is it just a temporary retaliation, or do you see any wider implications of how Russia would be changing its approach, given the, I guess the, yeah, the anger that is now taking over?
I think it's important for everyone to realize, especially in Moscow, that strikes will not win the Ukraine war for Russia. I've looked at the target list. All the targets they picked to attack were legitimate. They all did severe damage, and they will have military impact on the ability of the Ukrainians to do very much. But it's not going to end the war. Now, in terms of the battlefield, the war is over. The Russians have won. But strategically, the war continues and will continue as long as Zelensky is there in Kiev with his little inner circle and they pretend to be a functional government with real institutions and real armed forces. And they will do that as long as we in Washington send them cash and military equipment. So the question is, what are you going to do about this, President Putin? Are you going to simply throw more rockets and missiles at the Ukrainians? That's not really going to change very much. You want an end to the war. I want an end to the war. President Trump always had a way to end the war. That is, cut off the military aid immediately. Withdraw all U.S. personnel, civilians, military, intelligence, doesn't matter, get them all out of Ukraine. Stop the flow of equipment as well as cash to Ukraine. At that point, the Ukrainian government and its operation collapses. The Europeans can't make up the difference. And the Europeans, regardless of what fools like Mr. Rutte and others say, they have no appetite for war. They're not interested in fighting for anything in Ukraine. They want to sit on the sidelines, posture as heroic defenders of this thing they call democracy, which is largely nonsense now in Western Europe. If you look at the censorship and the punishment meted out to people who have the audacity to disagree with whatever the mainstream opinion is uttered by the government, that's all nonsense. So the question is, if you're in Moscow, what are you going to do? I don't think they have much choice. I think that they've got to roll over the Dnieper River. They've got to cross it. They've got to go into Kiev and put this government out of business in Kiev. They've got to take Odessa, because Odessa is the gateway for arms and all sorts of equipment and technology for Ukraine. Now they're going to send 10,000 Russian troops, I understand, to Moldova to protect the Russians who are living in Moldova. Well, if you're going to do that, you might as well take Odessa. Then you at least have a land bridge to Moldova. And I think that can be done. Once it becomes clear that the government in Kiev is out of business and Odessa is in Russian hands, I think at that point you're looking at an end state. Then you have a rump state Ukraine. Then the question is, what do the Romanians, the Moldovans, the Hungarians, the Slovaks, the Poles really do about it? Because they're the ones with a border with Russia and Ukraine. I don't know what the Lithuanians, Latvians, and Estonians are going to do except continue to sit on the sidelines and carp and complain like other Lilliputian countries with Lilliputian armies. It's just absurd. But I think the other states that I mentioned, they have an interest in ending this conflict as well. The question is, what do the rest do? The Germans? I mean, Germany is just a frightful mess. It's a catastrophe right now. You have a coalition governing there that can't agree on anything. You have people in power in Paris and London who might as well be on Mars. There's absolutely no grasp of reality whatsoever. It's just appalling when I listen to what these people say. They're playing with fire, and they have no idea what that means. And what it means is very, very serious, because at some point, The Russians are going to do what I just mentioned. They will because they don't have any choice. And if this doesn't end it, they'll have to do more. I think it was a member of the Russian delegation that said, well, remember, we fought Sweden for 21 years. They did. And we ought to remember that. And I think we ought to be interested in peace, not more conflict, because it's certainly not helping Ukraine. The principal victims in all of this are Ukrainians, let's face it. But I don't see any hope right now on the horizon for any rationality. Maybe we get some new governments, some new leadership in the West, we could see something positive happen. But right now, the Russians have to deal with the situation that exists. They've got to get rid of Zelensky and this horrible government he represents.
There is something awfully irrational about both governments and media at the moment.
Every government comes with its henchman who tries to change the rules to suit their ideologies, depending on how big and deep the pockets are. Hello and welcome again to the Edge Politics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on who is actually controlling the new Trump administration. Donald Trump's political opponents have struck a new blow. The New York Times published an article revealing connections between the scandalous Jeffrey Epstein and Czech billionaire Peter Thiel. Those who commissioned the article knew exactly where to hit. They are gradually undermining the MAGA movement, within which growing discontent is rising. Trump supporters are being pushed toward the idea that the president's promises, such as revealing Epstein's client list, aren't being fulfilled, while real lovers of power end up in the hands of technocrats like Peter Thiel. But who is Peter Thiel? And why is he associated with the Trump administration? Peter Thiel is a venture capitalist investor and co-founder of Palantir. He has long established himself not only as a visionary entrepreneur, but also as an architect of new political reality. In recent years, Thiel and his inner circle, alumni of the so-called PayPal Mafia, and the related venture funds, have occupied strategically important positions in the U.S. power infrastructure. A special place in this network is occupied by J.D. Vance. Vance, the current vice president and former Thiel protégé, has become a symbol of the new wave of MAGA elite. His political rise would have been impossible without Thiel's financial and organizational support. But J.D. Vance is just one of many. The personal policy of the 2025 administration looks increasingly like a custom among graduates of tech startup and investment funds rather than traditional political institutions. Among the most notable on Thiel's protege list are Elon Musk, a man who, of course, doesn't need any introduction today. Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA, a political activist actively promoting technocratic and right conservative ideas among the youth. Christopher Latner, a technology advisor who previously worked at Apple and Tesla, and Peter Navarro, Trump's economic advisor, supporting a course towards integrating the private sector into government functions. So what did Thiel get by promoting these people into the administration? Companies connected to Peter Thiel and his team receive billion-dollar government contracts. Palantir, for example, became a key contractor for federal agencies on data processing and analysis, personal information database integration, and national security provisions. Such contracts not only bring billion-dollar profits, but also allows the private sector to control critically important elements of government infrastructure. Essentially, technology companies led by Peter Thiel and his like-minded associates are becoming not just service providers, but full-fledged subjects of power. Surveillance, analytics, and predictive modeling systems developed by Palantir and similar structures are being implemented in law enforcement agencies, intelligence services, and even civilian departments. This allows the private sector to accumulate data arrays previously unable and unavailable to anyone except the state, and forms new mechanisms of social control. And what about the man Donald Trump himself? Trump, despite all his charisma and political energy, is increasingly becoming a symbolic figure, a screen behind which power redistribution in favor of technocratic elites is taking place in the US today. So what do you think? Are millionaire businessmen in the US the ones controlling the policies of the US to their personal interests? Or the policies put in place by the bureaucrats are for the good of the nation in general? Well, kindly leave your comments in the comment section below, and thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.